Hello and welcome to Odds on Serie A 26 match day with a new leader. We have Milan on top of the table, so let's analyze all the games. This is very interesting with Daniele Fisichella. And of course with you, leave your comments and don't forget to press the like and subscribe to our channel. And now let's go on with the show. We have new leader in Italy, Dani. For sure, this is the most interesting championship in Europe right now. How are you?
-1 point or +1 point, depending which way you see it. Yes, Milan are the lead with one more game than Inter, by the way. Everyone seems forgetting that Inter hasn't played a Bologna yet. But yes, they completed the sorpasso, taking advantage of the draw at Napoli, taking advantage of the fact that Inter had a busier schedule that now should get a little bit easier just on paper, and Milan have an easy trip to Salerno, so yeah, they're probably gonna stay leaders for this week as well.
I guess all top three teams should win this match day, but we never know. What we know is that we start on Friday with a derby della Mole, Juve Torino. Juve is still in Champions League spots because they got a point against Atalanta with that goal scored by Danilo in the last minutes. They won the last 4 games, Dani, and they are facing their neighbors, Torino, that they are looking bad in this moment of the season. Only 1 point in the last 3 games.
Yeah, strange patch for Torino, who lost against Venezia. Probably didn't deserve to lose. They were caught cold by Venezia in the second half when they scored a 2-1. Had a goal disallowed. Belotti, by the way, is back, scored, goal disallowed. Probably should have got a draw. But, you know, if you look at Torino recent performance, yes, the goals have been drying out a little bit. Hopefully, for them, with the return of their captain and number 9, they can start scoring a little bit more. But they face a very tough opposition because Juventus had a very good performance at Bergamo. It is a revitalized, rejuvenated team, of course, with the arrival of Vlahovic. Look, the problem with Juventus this season is that they cannot beat top teams, only 5 points out of 21 against top teams. But with the opposition of a lower level, they often done the job, especially from October onwards. I think Bergamo probably was one of the best games of Juventus in the last 3-4 months. Massive improvements in terms of number of chances created in the second half before Atalanta scored and took the lead. They really tested Atalanta. They should have scored a couple. Look, they still have the 10th attack of Serie A, Juventus, which is worse than Empoli and Sassuolo. So again, it is a team that desperately needs more goals and more goals from more players. But now they give a sensation they can score at any time. Couple of weeks ago, they gave the sensation they could never score, even if the game lasted 300 minutes. So, you know, this is a massive improvement. Also down to the new way Allegri is playing with the front 3. Won 5 out of 6 at home, Juventus. 3 clean sheets in the last 6. Only 2 goals conceded. But, you know, in the last few games, Verona and Sassuolo in Coppa Italia had good spells against Juventus. Not yet perfect in terms of ball retention and possession. These are the 2 teams who concede less chances to the opposition. In fact, both Szczesny and Milinkovic-Savic are the keepers who made the less saves in Serie A. 43 actually for Milinkovic-Savic, although he's been conceding a few goals lately. But I think the attacking prowess of Juventus should show. I think, as I said, is a team that looks dangerous, especially with the front 3. They'll be rested midweek. They haven't got the Champions League yet to contend with. That's why the game is played on Friday. I'm going to go for a goals market, but a cautious one. Over 1 goal in the first half, which pays 193. So if there is just 1 goal in the first half, you get your money back. If there is more than 1 goal, you get 193.
The head-to-head is dreadful for Torino, actually, in the derbies.
It's always been.
Very bad. No victories in the last 5 years. 7 victories and 2 draws. 7 victories for Juve, of course. In these last 5 years, very bad record for Torino. Looking forward to watching that Villarreal-Juve that you mentioned is going to be played on Tuesday. But going back to Serie A, on Saturday, we have a very important game in Genoa, Sampdoria, Empoli, because Sampdoria, after the defeat against Milan that we all expected, they are only 2 points away from relegation with Cagliari or Venezia getting points behind. Their last home game was a convincing victory against Sassuolo. So I guess, Danny, everyone, at least Sampdoria's fans, they expect a victory against Empoli, because this Empoli is struggling, no victories in the last 8.
Yeah, and actually this is an Empoli side that is much better away than at home, so Sampdoria still have to be mindful. The home form for Empoli has been dreadful. They took the lead against Cagliari, but in the end they could have lost. They got a plus 10 points on the relegation zone for Empoli, which, let's not forget, is a newly promoted team, so that's really, really remarkable. I think they need other 9 points to be completely sure of salvations, and they build this great point tally on away form. Already 5 wins away. It is a team, Empoli, that attacks a lot, commits a lot of players forward, especially with the fullbacks, but also concedes a lot. I mean, they got a negative goal difference, and for being in the position they are with a negative goal difference, it doesn't smell too good, you know. It doesn't take too much, a turns in fortune, and then they start, as you see, collecting bad results, and they can get sucked in. You could expect goals in this one, because both keepers, or whoever plays in Sampdoria keeper, because Audero has been injured recently, Falcone has been played, both keepers are in the top 4 for saves made so far in Serie A. So Empoli and Sampdoria, teams that concede a lot, often saved by the woodwork, often saved by the keepers. Sampdoria, in the last 5, only 1 win, the 4-0 against Sassuolo, helped by dreadful defending from Sassuolo. 4 defeats. They lost at Milan 1-0, maybe too defensively minded. Gianpaolo started only with one striker on the pitch, then in the second half put Quagliarella. Maybe they should have go a little bit earlier. No clean sheets in the last 11 for Sampdoria. That's the most worrying stats for them. They are the 3rd worst defense at home. They conceded 25, rarely keep a clean sheet at Marassi. Hard to predict this one, because Empoli might get a point, might get the win at Marassi. They've done this before, so I'm gonna go for a mini ACCA here, which I like over 2.5 goals and both to score. So you have to play them both together, because individually they don't pay too much, but if you combine over 2.5 with both teams to score, 285.
Always entertaining to watch Empoli, and
Yes.
on Saturday also have an entertaining team like Verona visiting the Olimpico. Now Verona only 4 points away from the Giallorossi, because they cannot win, winless in the last 3 with the draw against Sassuolo in the last game, so they have to go back and win Roma, but it won't be easy against this Verona. Danny, 3 victories in the last 4 with Barak back in the score sheet over and over.
Yes, I mean, 4-0 win against Udinese. Also Caprari back on the score sheet. Great season for Caprari, as well as Barak. Caprari 3rd for successful dribblings in Serie A. And this was a guy that couldn't get a game at Benevento, was loaned out by Sampdoria, completely revitalized by Tudor, as most of Verona. But, the 4-0 against Udinese probably is not a true reflection of the game. Udinese had a lot of chances. They hit the bar twice. So I think 4-0 is very generous for Verona, who, by the way, have the 4th best attack of Serie A. But if you look at the number of shots on target, they're in the bottom half. So that tells you they are very effective. They create good chances rather than a lot of half chances. They are a touch lucky as well. No away clean sheet so far for Verona. It is a team that tends to attack when they go away, leave them a little bit exposed. And, in the last 6, 3 wins, 3 draws away. But, they need to really be careful, Roma, with this. Now, Mourinho, is he a big flop? Is he the biggest disappointment of the season? Well, the number says that, yes, Roma are doing worse than last season, -6 points. They're already out of the Coppa Italia. They are in the Conference League. Mourinho hasn't given them that solidity, that stability, that continuity of play. Only 2 clean sheets in the last 10 games. If anything, Mourinho was famous for, when he played in Italy, was for the defensive solidity. Well, he didn't give them that. So they seem very fragile also in terms of nerves. But the numbers for Roma are there. You need to look behind the classification. They are 4th for shots on goal, 1st for corners taken, 2nd for most chances created in Serie A, 1st for most expected goals in Serie A, over 44, and also they are 1st, unfortunately, for most errors leading to goals. So most of the goals they concede are due to individual mistakes more than anybody else. Now the question is, can Mourinho turn it around? Should they trust Mourinho even more? Because, you know, the stats are there. They need just to be more continuous and have a little bit more of luck. But, you know, the patience is not a great virtue of Roma and the Roman ambient, if you like. At home, they've been disappointing. 6th in the home table. The goal tally at home has been also disappointing. Only 17 scored. The good news for Roma is that Zaniolo is going to be back from the suspension. For this one, Abraham keeps scoring, although he stole the penalty from Sergio Oliveira. So Mourinho wasn't very happy about that. They rescue a point at Sassuolo at the last minute. I think Mourinho could turn it around at least for this one. But Roma win. The odds are very good, actually. 188.
Yeah, odds are good. Well, Mourinho or Zaniolo, no? I trust more.
It's one of the two.
Zaniolo than Mourinho. And also on Saturday, we keep traveling south to see Salernitana Milan, the leaders, playing against a team like Salernitana that got a point against Genoa, but for both teams, actually, because it's not worthy for none of them, and unable to score against big teams, always been thrashed by top teams in this Serie A, Dani. So I guess we should expect an easy victory for Milan.
We should. But first of all, let's start with the good news for Salernitana. They got a point back because they got a point deducted for not playing at Udinese, but now that game needs to be played. So Salernitana got a point back. They need to play the game at Udinese, so they got 2 games in hand. Again, it's still a massive task to get saved, but at least they got a tiny glimpse of hope. Now, the bad news, they're thinking about sacking Colantuono after having sacked Astori. I don't see what Colantuono has done badly. Now, actually, they bought in 13 new players, and, you know, he got 2 points in the last 2 games against teams that are in their leagues. And they're thinking about either Davide Nicola, who saved Crotone and Torino, or Andrea Pirlo. Maybe Pirlo need a little bit more experience in Serie B next season. Might not be a bad idea, actually. They got now more threat, I think, going forward, Salernitana, with the new signing, with Musset, with Verdi providing the assist for the goal of Bonazzoli. So they look a little bit more threatening, but, you know, some of the players they signing, like Ribéry, probably not really working. I don't know. I mean, it's been a gamble that didn't pay off yet. At home, they've been dreadful anyway. Only 5 points at home, the worst attack of Serie A with only 7 goal scores at home. And, you know, against top teams, as you remember, they always lost. I keep tally of these things, 25-1 in over 6 or 7 games. They only scored 1 goal at San Paolo against Napoli, talking about playing against top teams. And now Milan, top of the league, playing well, a lot of confidence. You know, you've seen the goal they scored against Sampdoria. Route 1 football, Maignan to Leao, 70-meter pass. See you later, but Leao is in great form. I'm sure they won't do it again, but that tells, you know, they can. It doesn't always have to be spectacular. They had the way to unlock even tight defenses. So a very effective display. They didn't suffer much against Sampdoria. They won 4 of the last 5 away games, Milan. They got the top away attack with 29 goals scored. They are 2nd in the away table. Last year, they were the best away team. So, you know, a Milan win obviously is on the cards allo Stadio Arechi, and in the last 4 games Milan only faced 5 shots. Most of them have come against Inter in the derby when they were second best for 55 minutes or so. Away, which pays 2, double your money, so Milan to be winning at halftime and at full time as a consequence at the Stadio Arechi. I think the you know, for a top v bottom clash, the odds of 2 are super generous.
Good enough, indeed, good enough. Then on Sunday we have Fiorentina Atalanta, perhaps a vendetta from the Coppa Italia. Exactly. We saw this game only 1 week ago. Was in Bergamo. Yes. That time Fiorentina beat Atalanta. Was kind of a surprise. Was a good week actually for Fiorentina because they also beat on the road Spezia, but we know, Dani, that this Atalanta is better when they are playing on the road. They are also playing in Europa League, and they have to react at one point in Serie A because no victories in the last 5 games, and they can risk not going to the Champions League the next season.
They still have the game in hand, but Juventus is above them. I think they had a good game against Juventus. Both teams have chances. Both teams could have scored the second goal. Juventus could have taken the lead. Atalanta has also got the problem. They don't kill games off the match, but the problem is that, again, lying with their attacking lines, without Zapata, with Muriel only scoring 6 goals so far this season. They're also missing Ilicic. They sold Gosens to Inter, although he's been injured most of the season. So they have lacked in the creative department. You know, Malinowski scored great goals, but we haven't seen him doing that too much this season. And now the new man, Boga, who they got from Sassuolo, is really the man that could unlock defenses. The Gasperini is going to make him play week in and week out. Great dribblers, very, very pacey attackers. That's what he already had a good impact on the team. He can rejuvenate Atalanta. Let's see how the game with Olympiacos go. We're recording this video before the Europa League starts, so we don't know. It's going to be an intense game for Atalanta. I think Atalanta are going to win against Olympiacos, but they might be tired for the trip to Firenze. However, Atalanta are the best away team in Serie A so far. No defeats. They got the second best attack behind Milan when they play away, and they will want to vindicate the Coppa Italia defeat, which happened in strange circumstances for them. You know, they conceded in the last minute. Fiorentina were with 10 men. They thought the free kick should not have been awarded, you know, lot of polemics, but they will want to vindicate that. And again, I think Atalanta got us used recent season to start the season slowly in Serie A and then kick on from February onwards. So I wouldn't be surprised if now Atalanta goes on a run of good results. Fiorentina, look, I think sometimes selling your best player can also have a positive impact on the environment if the pride and the team spirit kicks on. Of course, Fiorentina have lost a lot by selling Vlahovic, although they got 70 million from Juventus. But what they haven't lost is the team spirit, and what they haven't lost is the style of play. Apart from the very first game against Lazio, when they didn't quite click. But then, you know, against Atalanta, against Spezia on Monday, you know, in difficult circumstances, they play well, they reacted. Also, especially against Spezia, they dominated the play. The way that Vincenzo Italiano makes them play. First 2 goals in the league for Piontek. He also missed a penalty. But, you know, it is a team young, they still have to learn, but there are very positive signs there. I'm not sure if they're going to finish in the top 7 to actually go to Europe, but they're definitely going to give it a go in this game. You know, average 2 points per game at home, so obviously very good tally. Third best attack at home, 29. They normally score quite a lot. They did not score against Lazio, but was the first time they didn't score at home. So previously they won 6 out of 7. I wouldn't be surprised if Fiorentina puts up a very, very good performance. Again, waiting for Cabral to get used to the Italian football, the striker they signed from Basel, to replace Vlahovic. Again, same as I said in the game for Sampdoria and Empoli, over 2.5 goals and both to score. Play them together, 281.
Good game, this one, in the fight for Europe. Now let's go to the bottom of the table. Venezia, Genoa. Danny, last week we mentioned that was one of the last options for Genoa, playing at home against Salernitana. They couldn't beat the bottom of the table. If we see the positive side, okay, 3 consecutive draws, no defeats, but they must beat Venezia, the team that is above them in the standings, 6 points ahead. This is another 6-pointer key for the relegation battle.
For both, Venezia, though, come after an amazing win at Torino. They did it again. They've done it already. Third away wins for Venezia, newly promoted. You know, sometimes these games, when they won them before, also when they won at Bologna, they probably didn't fully deserve it because, you know, there was the controversy of the goal chopped off by Belotti. Also, when they won at Bologna a few months ago, they only had 1 shot on target. That was the first win in 11 games, but you need to give them credit of a team with most of the players never played in Serie A before. There are a lot of foreign players, there are a lot of young players, and, you know, they are giving it a go. they having good performance, obviously not as consistent as they would like, but it is a team that it is threatening. Although, I mean, I often say Venezia spends most of the time in their defensive third, but they are good on the counter, good on the break. They will be without Okereke, which is probably the massive threat for them, because, you know, very quick striker that could take the ball forward very quickly is being sent off. Venezia and Genoa are two disappointing teams if you look at the stats, but I think I'm more disappointed with Genoa than with Venezia, of course. You know, in the bottom three for shots and attempts on target, both teams average for Venezia and Genoa less than 1 goal per game, so I'm not expecting a lot of goals here. Venezia home, goal difference -10. Genoa away, goal difference -15. So these numbers could smell a draw, for example. Genoa are more aggressive with the new manager, with Blessing. You know, he's getting at least more attacking players on the pitch, Yeboah and Kuban, especially behind Destro, and he gets the attacking players to do the dirty work, to run more. So instead of packing the team with fullbacks, defenders and defensive midfielders, at least now they play a sort of 4-3-3 with 3 attacking players. But, you know, goals come at a really high cost for Genoa. I'm going to be cautious on this one. I think Genoa are more organized now with Blessing. They press better. Asian handicap 0 in the first half for Genoa. Very good odds, 197, which means if the first half is a draw, or you get your money back. If Genoa wins the first half, you win 197. If Venezia wins the first half, you lose your money.
Key game, this one for the relegation. Then Inter, Sassuolo. Uy. Danger.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy. And the bookies tell us that Inter is super favorite, only 1.32. But I wouldn't put my money right now, Danny, on Inter, because, as we know, they are playing Champions League against Liverpool, and they are in a very tough run of fixtures, also struggling, for instance, against Venezia, playing at home. And we know how Sassuolo can be dangerous, especially against big teams in this Serie A, Danny. That's why be careful with this game.
Sassuolo always good against good teams. We saw it home and away. Against Roma, they scored 2, missing their 2 best players, Raspadori and Scamacca. They almost won the game. Roma equalized in the very last minute. I remember them traveling to Florence, scoring 2, traveling to Juventus, scoring 2 in the Coppa Italia, only scored 1, lost in the last minute, had a good spell of the game, scored 3 against Milan and won at San Siro already this season. So Sassuolo doesn't have to be underestimated. Obviously, probably the bookie thinks that considering Sassuolo concedes almost 2 goals per game away so far this season, and Inter are the second top scorers in Serie A, they obviously do the maths and think Inter could score a couple in the first half. But there is a big but. Inter are missing the most important player for this one, Marcelo Brozovic. You can see here, Brozovic has been yellow carded, so he's suspended. And without Brozovic, who plays every single minute of every single game, Inter look ponderous, they look slow, the build-up from the back is not quite the same. You know, in the Coppa Italia against Empoli, which took them to extra time, Brozovic wasn't there, was given a rest. Inter really struggled to break Empoli down. Let's see who plays. Inter obviously going to be very tired after Liverpool. We don't know how the game is going to end because we're recording on a Wednesday morning, but I can't expect it's going to be a walk in the park. So it could be tough for Inter, which, you know, now have to start. They can't just say, okay, we got the game in hand and let the lead become wider. Otherwise, that game in hand with Bologna is pretty much useless. These are two teams, top 2 teams for shots on target in Serie A. Sassuolo has already scored 24 goals away from home. And, you know, Inter has conceded more goals since 2022, only kept 1 clean sheet. In the first half against Napoli, they struggled. They had the back against the wall, then against a good reaction. The numbers, of course, the bookies think Inter are very good at home, but they are very good at home. Only lost 2 home games in the last 2 seasons in Serie A. Second home attack, second defense, only 10 goals conceded. But I could see the fatigue of Champions League above all, and also Inter not perfect condition at the moment affecting this game. So double chance in the first half. So Sassuolo X2 in the first half, he pays a lot, 2.13.
Be careful with this game with Inter, indeed. And we stay in the north of Italy, in Udinese, Lazio. Also be careful with Udinese because they are only 3 points away from the relegation spots, with Cagliari or Venezia getting points, and they were thrashed against Verona. They are getting closer to the bottom 3, Danny, and now they are facing Lazio. It's true that they will be coming from a tough game in Europa League in Porto, but in Serie A they are looking very good lately with 4 consecutive clean sheets.
Yes, they are getting better also on the road. They won 4 of the last 6 away games, although they still have got a negative goal difference when they play away, -2, only conceding 1 goal in the last 5, and they got the second best attack, if I'm not wrong, or third best attack, definitely the top goal scorer of Serie A, Immobile, alongside Vlahovic. If Maurizio Sarri manages to get on the pitch at the same time Zaccagni, Immobile, one between Pedro and Anderson, Luis Alberto and Milinkovic-Savic, there aren't many Italian teams in the league that can have these 5 players of such great quality. Obviously, there's a lot of work for the defensive midfielders, where it is Basic, where is Cataldi, where is Luca Leiva to cover the runs of the forwards, and obviously the fullbacks is an area where Sarri has to work a lot. This is a team that came from playing 3-5-2 with Inzaghi and on the counter for a few years to playing 4-4-2, and you can see like a player like Manuel Lazzari, right back, one of the best wing backs in Italy, is still adapting to the new role. But Lazio, they're in good form, and I think Lazio could score a couple away. If you remember the game, the reverse fixture 4-4, spectacular game of the season. Udinese was 3-1 up, then equalized in the very last minute 4-4. Udinese unlucky against Verona, I must say, because I always criticized them for not having a goal. Well, this time they did have a goal. They hit the bar twice. Couple of good saves from the Verona goalkeeper, but still Udinese, I think they show what they can do, but they need to just do it more and more consistently. They're in the bottom half for shots on target. A team of that quality should do a little bit more, especially at home. 5th worst attack at home, only 15 goals scored, only won 3 home games so far this season. Not great defensive either, only 2 clean sheets. And obviously now they got the game in hand with Salernitana. They thought they won 3-0. They were given the win. Now they have to replay the game. I would think they will win that game, but yes, they're not completely safe, or they're not in a great position in the table, so they need to kick on. But I'm going to back Lazio with this one, with an Asian handicap -0.25, which pays 2. So if Lazio win, you win 2. If Lazio draws, you lose half your stake.
And on Monday, we have 2 more games, and we have one of the title contenders playing in the islands in Cagliari. Shouldn't be easy as well for Napoli. Good for them that they will have 1 day more of rest after playing with Barcelona in the Europa League on Thursday. And Napoli, they look quite good, Danny, but it's not the best time of the year to go to Cagliari, not only because it's not warm enough to swim in the Esmeralda Coast, but because Cagliari, they are in a great form, only 1 defeat in the last 6 games, so I wouldn't expect a walk in the park, as we used to say, for Napoli.
No, I don't think it's going to be one of those. Mazzarri's team have got good numbers recently, as you said. Only 1 defeat in the last 6 at Roma, 1-0, where they had good chances. In the last 6, scored 6, conceded 6 since the beginning of the year. Couple of away wins at Sampdoria and at Atalanta. They're still in the bottom 3, but because Venezia got the unexpected victory at Torino, I think they really picked up form. Probably Mazzarri is getting them to work a bit harder. Players of this quality shouldn't be in that position in the league. At home, they've been disappointing so far, but recently improving. The goal difference is -15 at home, but it's because before Mazzarri was appointed, they were leaking goals left, right, and center. And they play a very solid, extremely solid Napoli. With the return of Koulibaly, we saw how important was he at the center of defense against Inter. Almost, unbreakable, really. Had a massive game. The problem with Napoli, after a very good start in the first half with Inter, as we saw time and time again this season, they don't manage to kill games off. They could have gone 2 or 3-0 up in the first half, and then they suffered the comeback, and they almost didn't have a plan B once the game was 1-1. Maybe it's not enough this season to challenge for the Scudetto until the end. We'll see. But because against good teams, against small teams, Napoli are very, very good. They usually do the job. They score a couple. They don't concede many. Best defense in Italy with only 17 conceded. And, a little bad luck for Napoli as well. If you look at the number of times they hit the post or the bar, they are top with Bologna 12 times. Change those bars and posts into goals. Out of a sudden, maybe Napoli are first. You could go for a nation handicap corners. Cagliari are second from bottom for corners taken. Napoli are fifth. You could go for an under 2.5 goals. Napoli have very good defense. I'm going to risk it here, and I'm going to go for a both to score no 220.
1.56 for Napoli to win in Cagliari, so we need to be creative if we want to back Napoli or go for the goals market as you are doing, Danny. And we have one more game. Actually, remember recently Napoli winning and playing very well at Dallara, going to Bologna. Spezia. Bologna, they are in really bad form. 1 victory in the last 9 games, 4 defeats in the last 5 games, so really bad numbers for Mihailovic's men, and they are playing Spezia, a team that they were lucky, before, and they were in a very good run after before the defeat against Fiorentina away. Be careful because they got 10 points out of the last 12. Are you backing the surprise here?
I'm not sure. I think, Spezia lost in the last minute against Fiorentina, but they cannot call themselves unlucky. Fiorentina totally deserve the win. When we talk about luck, we mentioned before Napoli hitting the bar and the post. Bologna, top with Napoli, hit the bars and post 12 times. You know who's the luckiest team in Italy? Well, it's Spezia, because they've been saved by the post or the bar 17 times. Add to that the fact they won at Napoli without having a shot on goal. They won at Milan with a massive referee mistake in their favor. Obviously, penalized Milan. Things could change very quickly. But only 1 defeat in the last 5 for Spezia. Bologna, they are finding it difficult to score. Only scored 2 in the last 6. They maybe deserved 1 against Lazio. I felt they were improving a little bit more. I think with Mihailovic, since he reverted back, he went back to the 3-5-2. They were solid, difficult to break down. They lack a little bit of creativity. Now, hopefully back with Arnautovic, with Barro and Soriano, they should go back to the form of the beginning of the league. No wins in the last 4 at home. Spezia away are a mid-table team. They won 4, but they are also the worst away defense. They conceded 30. I think Spezia rode their luck a little bit, but credit where credit is due. This is the youngest team in Italy. They couldn't sign anybody in January because of the FIFA ban. Thiago Motta is always on the verge of sacking. So, if they stay up, it's a great achievement. I think Bologna gonna win, so you could go for a win for Bologna, or be a little bit creative and go for a nation handicap minus 0.75 for Bologna, which pays 208, which means if they win by only 1 goal, you win half your stake.
Okay, you trust Bologna for this last game. Danny, let's finish the video with your expected ACCA.
Okay, 5 games. Juventus to win the derby, Milan to win the first half against Salernitana, Fiorentina and Atalanta, both teams to score. Inter Sassuolo over 2.5 goals. Bologna to take the lead against Spezia. Total odds 10.45.
All right, Danny, as always, a pleasure talking to you with about the Serie A, and thanks, of course. See you soon.
Ciao, Edu. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Thanks for watching another video with Daniele Fisichella and Serie A. Let me know, as always, your suggestions and your tips for this match day. And don't forget to like us and subscribe to our channel. Or if you prefer, remember also that we have a podcast for you. Thanks for watching. See you soon.